Hello, welcome to another IELTS writing video. Today we are going to look at 10 more lexical resource related questions. If you find this video helpful, please visit my blog at IELTS.com and join us this Sunday, which is April the 15th, 2012, for a special meetup session at IELTS-chat.com. That's at 9 p.m. Shanghai time. So please look to my blog for details about that meeting. So for those of you that have not watched these sorts of videos before, I'll just quickly explain how they work. Basically, I will show you an essay, and within the essay you will see 10 different points where you can choose between two different wordings. So, for example, in this sentence we have courtesy, the wallet was not on the table, or curiously, the wallet was not on the table. So for this sentence, of course, the correct answer would be curiously. So at 10 different points in the following essay, you will see questions like this one, and you must choose which word or wording is correct. And please post the number of questions you get correct out of 10 in the comments section of the video. And if you don't mind, please provide me some feedback. So the question that we're looking at today was seen in Melbourne, Australia last month, and it reads, "These days, many jobs require people to travel, and this is disrupting many families. What effects do traveling parents have on their children?" Okay, I'll give you another second to read the question to yourself. Okay, so the question is very straightforward. It gives us a simple background sentence, and then it asks us for what effects we feel come from families that have parents who travel with work. So to reply to this essay question, we would respond using an argument essay structure. We will just come up with a simple thesis in response to this portion of the question. So but you'll see this in the following essay. Now let's look at the essay itself. I will pause when we get to the questions and provide you with a few seconds to choose your answer. With globalization and a common business culture encroaching among every corner of the world, work-related travel is becoming increasingly prevalent. Or, with globalization and a common business culture encroaching on every corner of the world, work-related travel is becoming increasingly prevalent. Okay, and here the correct answer would be on. Encroach is a verb that is often coupled with upon, U-P-O-N, or on. So if we were to write it the other way with among, that would be kind of awkward and would not fit very well in the sentence. So encroaching on every corner of the world. Now the word encroach, if that maybe is a new word for some people, is a word that means to advance upon, or to kind of move gradually onto something, or to spread gradually towards something. So here we're just saying that that there is sort of an international business culture that's sort of spreading throughout the world, and we're just using the verb encroach and coupling it with on. Okay. Although this may be positive for international economies, the effect this trend has on parent-child relationships is questionable. It is argued that parents who spend excessive amounts of time away from home negatively influence the development of their children. Or it is argued that parents whom spend excessive amounts of time away from home negatively influence the development of their children. So here, parents and the verb spend have a subject-verb relationship. So our correct answer here would be who. So were the relationship to be verb-object, then we would go with whom. So it is argued that parents who spend excessive amounts of time away from home negatively influence the development of their children. Now this sentence is the thesis of our essay. We're saying that traveling parents influence their families and their children in a negative manner. This will be shown by looking amid the need children have for both a stable household structure and regular interaction with a positive adult role model. Or this will be shown by looking at the need children have for both a stable household structure and regular interaction with a positive adult role model. Okay, and the correct answer would be at. Amid is a word that is not particularly specific. Amid sort of means around. So if we were looking at amid this, it wouldn't be particularly specific. And in this instance, it's just kind of awkward to say looking amid the need. So we would say looking at the need for children, the need children have for both a stable household structure and regular interaction with a positive adult role model. Now, as you know, this is the outline sentence of our essay. So as you can see, the need children have for a stable household structure, that's going to be our first point in our supporting paragraph, number 1. And regular interaction with a positive adult role model, this is going to be the focus of supporting paragraph number 2. So let's get to supporting paragraph number 1. Let's put a space in here. For one, disruption upon a nuclear family's household structure can have devastating effects on a child's educational pursuits. Or, for one, disruption of a nuclear family's household structure can have devastating effects on a child's educational pursuits. Okay, and the word disruption is often coupled with of. So we can't really disrupt upon. It would just be kind of awkward to write it here. Disruption of is much more fitting. A nuclear family's household. Now, if the term nuclear family is new to you, nuclear family is sort of like just the traditional idea of family structure, which is basically a mother and a father and their children. This is what a nuclear family refers to. So when we say disruption of a nuclear family's household structure, what we're talking about is basically a break within this structure. So maybe this is a single parent family. So maybe a mother who's raising the children by herself, or a father raising the children by himself. So we're saying that this kind of structure can have devastating effects on a child's educational pursuits. And I'm being a little bit melodramatic here. I know that there are many, many healthy single-parent families in the world, but for the sake of this essay, I'm just choosing this as sort of the point to use to prove our thesis. So I don't mean to insult any single parents out there. So for example, a recent American study revealed that children living with single parents were 30% less likely to enroll in university than children living with children living within traditional two-parent homes. Or, for example, a recent American study revealed that children living with single parents were 30% less likely to enroll into university than children living within traditional two-parent homes. Okay, now the phrase enroll into it just sounds awkward. This is not the way that we would phrase this sentence. Enroll in is typically the word coupling that is used in situations like this. So less likely to enroll in university than children living within traditional two-parent homes. Now, I have to admit something to you. This example of 30%, I have no idea whether this is true or not. And I promise you on your examination that if you are to use an example like this where you don't really know what the figure is, but your examiner is not going to look in the internet and make sure that that you're absolutely 100% accurate in the numbers that you're sharing. Now, of course, if you were to give an example that is historically inaccurate, so for example, if you were to say that I don't know, that the Soviet Union fell apart in 2005, well, I mean, of course, then you might run into trouble. But when it's certain things like this that are not perhaps these figures that are not widely known, it's okay to guess in a way. I mean, your examiner is not going to go out of their way to check whether your figures are particularly accurate. So for the sake of proving my point, I've just come up with this number, 30%. I have no idea if that's true or not. Okay. As this example shows, a clear link between parental absence and the lowering of a child's academic successes, it is easy to see that children of traveling parents are at risk of underperforming in their studies. So now we're making the link between our example, which was showing single parent families often have children that do not attend university, as much as traditional nuclear families. Now we're linking this idea to the subject of our essay, which is traveling parents. So thus the drawbacks work-related travel has on parent-child relationships can be seen. Or thus the drawbacks work-related travel have on parent-child relationships can be seen. Now, these sorts of instances can be confusing to students because, on one side we have the noun drawbacks, which is a plural, and here we have work-related travel, which is singular. So what are we referring to here when we use has or have? Well, we're referring to work-related travel. So the correct answer would be has, not have. Okay, let's go to our second supporting paragraph. In addition to this, when their parents travel, children are deprived for regular interaction with a positive adult role model. Or, in addition to this, when their parents travel, children are deprived from regular interaction with a positive adult role model. Okay, and deprive, if this is a new word, deprive means to not permit or to make if something is held from somebody. So for example, criminals who live in jail are deprived their freedom. So it's just a word that means to kind of hold somebody, from something. So there, I've just given you the answer. So deprive is a word that we often couple with from and not for. Children are deprived from regular interaction with a positive adult role model. Without supervision, young people all too often turn to television for stimulation. Or, without supervision, young people greatly too often turn to television for stimulation. Okay, the correct answer is all. All too often, this is a phrase that it just means too often, too many times, or maybe more regularly than normal. All too often. So, without supervision, young people all too often turn to television for stimulation. Now, what does this sentence mean? Well, what we're saying is that young people, if they are not supervised by a parent or a guardian of some kind, they will often stimulate themselves or turn to maybe kind of unproductive resources such as television to entertain themselves instead of things like perhaps their studies or something that's a bit healthier. So we're saying without supervision, if children are not supervised, they often turn to television to be entertained. The effect this has towards the development of a child's mental health can be seen among some Canadian families, where teenage children show clear signs of lethargy, indifference, and late mental maturity. Or, the effect this has on the development of a child's mental health can be seen among some Canadian families, where teenage children show clear signs of lethargy, indifference, and late mental maturity. Okay, so effect, often we couple this with on, and with towards is once again awkward. So the effect this has on the development of a child's mental health can be seen among some Canadian families, where teenage children show clear signs of lethargy, indifference, and late mental maturity. Lethargy means to have a lack of energy, so to be without energy, kind of lazy. Indifference means to kind of it means to not care or to sort of give up on certain responsibilities. So among young people, a child that that is indifferent towards things would perhaps, you know, not really focus on their studies too much, and maybe just you know, just kind of be a passive individual that's not super interactive or super active in their uh, in their in their day-to-day responsibilities. And late mental maturity would just be a person that remains to a certain degree mentally immature. Thus, the negative ramifications that result from absent parents are obvious. Or, thus the negative ramifications that result aboard absent parents are obvious. Okay, and the answer here would be result from. Good little phrase here to remember. Often you might use this in your academic task 1 response as well. So something that results from another thing. So thus the negative ramifications that result from absent parents are obvious. Now let's get to our concluding paragraph. After looking at the poor influence traveling mothers and fathers have on their offspring, it is clear that parents are best to minimize the amount of time they spend away from their homes. Okay, so that's the end of the essay. So I hope that lesson introduced a couple new phrases and wording ideas to you. And as I mentioned at the beginning, please share with us the score that you get out of 10. And let me know what you would like to see in upcoming videos. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.